Craig Shatburn here. I just had to take this opportunity to show off my new leg, especially my knee. It's made by a company called Ossur, with two dots above the U. It's an Icelandic company, so I pronounce Ossur. And this, I have a new socket, but the knee is separate, and the Ossur also makes my foot, which is a combination carbon fiber and spring steel, and it articulates like an normal ankle would, which is different from the kind of equipment they give you, at least they gave me the first time out. My first leg was just a mechanical foot and a mechanical knee, no electronics or anything. This new Ossur knee, it's called a Rheo, R-H-E-O, a RheoXC. It has a microprocessor in it, which detects whether you're going down an incline or up an incline, and it also detects if you're going up and down stairs, and it detects a lot of other things. It has artificial intelligence, and it memorizes your habits, and so it already knows what's going to happen. It has a stumble feature, so that if you stumble, it helps you out of that. And the way it works is that a lot of modern cars use this. In fact, it's probably where they figured out the technology. Modern cars today, the shock absorbers, the computer can adjust the strength of the shock absorber. This is very similar. It uses what's called a magnetic rheological dampener, which has ferrite particles, which are iron, inside a oil base, and with electromagnets around that cylinder, which controls a piston. When it's got a power supply of 24 volts at 1 amp in the knee, which can last, they say can last up to 5 days. I find it really only lasts 2 or 3 days. And they say leave it on all the time, but I always turn mine off when I'm not using it so the battery lasts longer. You apply voltage to the electromagnets, which lines up the ferrite particles in the cylinder. The more voltage, meaning the more pressure I put down on my leg, the more voltage applied to the ferrite particles. It lines them up, and the more they line up, the harder the piston is to push. So I can walk normally like a knee. It gives me resistance, unlike my purely mechanical knee, which would, if I was walking down an incline, for example, the knee would buckle on me because of the going down, and then I would fall. So I would have to go down inclines like my driveway. I'd have to go down it sideways so that my knee wouldn't buckle. But now, because of this magnetic rheological dampener, when I'm walking down an incline, it senses that it's on an incline, and it with the downward pressure applied, it puts voltage onto the electromagnets, lines up the ferrite particles, and it feels like, when the piston kicks in, it feels like you're walking on spring steel. It's really cool. And then when I'm walking downstairs, it detects that you're going down steps, so it keeps the knee slightly bent on the second step, so that you don't have to keep forcing the knee to bend for each step that you go down. It's kind of hard to explain. But it really helps out, and you just ride it down. I just put all my weight down on my prosthetic leg, and just ride the step down, and then I'll use my good leg to go to the next step, and go all the way down. And going up is a little more difficult, but it holds it there long enough. It doesn't lock in place, but it holds it there long enough for you to get up to the next step. It's a little more difficult. Ossur and other companies like Autobach, they also make ones with motors in them, which is what I'm trying to get into next. That's what I'm really pressuring them for. But this knee costs $30,000 by itself, just the knee. And the motorized knee are around $68,000. Now, I go to the VA. I had my leg amputated at Kaiser, but they told me just to get into mechanical leg that I had to pay $2,300, and that was just like 20% of the leg. And then if I wanted another leg after that, I'd have to pay more. Well, I'm on my second socket, and I'm on my second knee and my second foot, and it only costs me $50 every time I go in to visit them, for them to make an adjustment or make a cast of my leg or something like that. So it's probably about $300 a leg instead of $2,300. And so the VA, their durable equipment, which is the socket and a foot and the knee, that's all free of charge. So I didn't like the Navy very much, but I know there was a reason why I endured that 4 years, because this is why I endured 4 years in the Navy. So thank you, VA. And thank you, Ossur, for such a cool knee. This thing is really neat. Here, I'll show you here. So you put like it's like a wetsuit on your leg, and the bottom of the wetsuit's attached to this strap, and the strap's attached to the socket. And then the first year, your leg starts off, mine did anyway, very big, swollen, and then it gets smaller and smaller as the year goes by. So you have to put these knit socks on as spacers, and they have 1-ply socks, 3-ply, 5-ply, 6-ply, and a combination of those. My old socket, I got up to 14-ply before they made me a new casting, and now it's smaller. And now I'm walking around on, let me see, it's 4-ply. I use a 3-ply and a 1-ply sock. And now it'll be a year. I have 4 more months to go before it's a year, so it'll probably get smaller. Then after a year, they're going to make me another socket to bring it down to another smaller size. And the less spacers you need, the less socks you need, the more comfortable it is. So, so my third socket, it should be a lot more comfortable. Right now my muscles are still very sore from the surgery. From them, they had to reattach the muscles to the bone. It's literally sew them back on the bone. And so my leg's very sore at the end of the day, especially when I take this socket off. I still need pain medication at the end of the day. I'm on 2/3 less pain medication than I was on when I was in chronic pain before the surgery. So I've made a lot of progress, and I'd like to get off the rest of it, but I have to wait until everything heals up. So let me show you here. These are the socks. And here's the socket here, and what they did for me on this second socket, this is carbon fiber, but they cut a hole in the front and they cut a hole in the back because that's where my muscles were the most sore. And they put a little membrane here, and that gives me a little more space for my muscles because it hurts so much, and it has helped quite a bit. So they did a nice job on the second socket. So this is the knee here. It also has a locking button, so one time I had to go up on the back hill of my yard, which is a very steep hill, and I would use the locking feature. So normally the knee bends like this, but if you put the locking feature in, it locks, and I can just jam it into the ground and just stand on it that way. Here, let me get you closer. So, here's the knee. It's the Ossur RheoXC. Really nice knee. Plus it's got like aluminum pylon, and then I really can't show you the foot because they put like a rubber, vinyl, I don't know what material it's made out of, plastic, but it looks like a real foot, and they put that over the metal and carbon fiber. I've seen pictures of it on the internet. It looks pretty cool. It even has a little notch between the big toe and the second toe, so that if you want to wear flip-flops, you can. So I haven't worn flip-flops in 20 years because my paralyzed leg before I had it amputated, I couldn't use flip-flops. So it even has a, back here is where you charge it up. It's water resistant, not waterproof, but you bring this down, and that's where you plug in your brick to power, to charge up the battery. And I just charge it every day. The blinking LED shows you it works. It's a steady yellow when you're charging it. But I tell people with that because it's a blinking green light that I'm about to turn 30 and I have to go into renewal at Carousel before the Sandman comes and gets me. So that's an homage to my favorite science fiction movie. I'll let you figure that part out. Anyway, so, and the more pressure you put down on it, here, let me back it up again. Okay. There, okay, so, and the more pressure you put down on it, the piston kicks in and it gets harder to bend. So now it's kind of hard to bend, but if I don't put any pressure on it at all, that's still hard to bend. No, there we go. So, and if I go down like this, so it really holds you up. It's really nice. So just thought I would share that with you. Since I'm a new amputee, this is all new equipment to me too, and I find it fascinating that they've come this far. They're also experimenting in Sweden with attaching titanium connectors right to the bone so that you can connect your prosthetic leg right to the bone of your leg, and you don't even need a socket. I don't think I'd go through that kind of surgery, and it's easy to get an infection. They have membranes now that go over the metal piece so that it doesn't, so that bacteria doesn't get into your leg. But I think I'll let the next generation deal with that. I'll just keep a socket for the rest of my life. But it's pretty cool stuff. So anyway, that's it.